did it
Because you was
together.
almost a single mom,
Oh my
bro.
God.
You was almost, because
You're about
you,
to be a single dad if you don't
Be
calm down.
gone.
she beats me. I'm telling you, she beats me, bro.
I don't. I do not. And yeah, then he joined.
Right, we are live for the first ever Don't Fold podcast. I'm super excited because this has been anticipated on my TikTok, especially. I've had a lot of people like, yo, when's the podcast coming? When's the podcast coming? It's here, okay? So, first ever episode, I had to have one of the most special guests ever in the whole wide world, and I'm super excited. This woman has made me become the person I am today. She's like my daughter's in the background screaming, so if you hear that, it is what it is. But this woman is a huge contribution to why I'm the man I am today. I had to grow up as a man with her. We've been through, I don't know how many freaking trials, and I just had to have her first. So welcome my beautiful wife to the pod, babe. What's happening? We're freaking here. We're freaking here. We're doing it. Don't fold. So, I mean, as for me, I know some of you guys know who I am already. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jay Mitchell, a.k.a. Tatted Investor, and from Colorado, Southside. Grew up gangbang culture, whole shebang. I got this beautiful woman pregnant when I was 19 years old, had my first child. She already had a kid beforehand, so I was a dad before I paid a bill, to be brutally honest. And we pretty much grew up together. So that's my story in a nutshell. You'll learn more about me, but you,
Me.
let me hear the background. Like I don't know, even though it's been 12 years.
Let's see. I mean, I'm Morgan Mitchell. You can find me, Instagram handle Morgan Inspires, 2 N's in Morgan. It's I don't even know. I wear many hats, but I guess my identity is inspirer, my wife, mom, all the things. I'm a group fitness instructor working right now to become a realtor. And then I work for a new home builder as a warranty rep. So I do all the things, just keep life busy and happy. And then try to keep up with this guy over here, which is not an easy feat, but I think I do okay. And that's me in a nutshell.
Well, you've also lost 70 pounds.
Yeah. I've lost quite a bit of weight. I've been on a fitness journey, I always say as long as our oldest, who's just turned 18. And I think over the past year, we've finally gotten a good inch, good headway. Yeah, I'm about 70 pounds down. And that has just changed my life kind of pretty dramatically. But yeah, I mean,
What do you like contribute to weight loss, or like that journey's been a long one, and I know it's been a lot of like, even as being your husband and seeing it from an aspect of you battling depression, you battling your identity, you trying to figure out, you've had many times where you can quit not only on yourself but on our marriage, times where you didn't want to be a mom anymore. You kind of just gave up, because you had Elijah Young, like before we even had Zion. You already had Elijah. So you never had a chance. Similar to myself, we never got to be adults without kids. So what do you contribute to, like, what pushed you to get over the hump to be like, you know what, I'm gonna take it serious and really dial in?
I think it's different reasons at different chapters. This last one, I think the biggest push was I just wanted to be the best version of myself as we went into every chapter of life. For Elijah, that's our oldest, for him being 18 and just being able to look back and say that, my mom, she pushed and she pushed and she finally hit big goals. And I think for Zion, our middle, our spicy one, he plays competitive basketball, and
He really sucks, for real.
he doesn't suck. But excuse me, guys, too. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm going to try to not sniffle too much. But for him, we see him push himself every practice, every game. And I just want him, if he ever doubts himself, to know that his mom and dad did not ever give up and that he needs to keep going. And I think for Trinity, same thing. She plays volleyball. We're still trying to figure it out, but I just want her to know the same thing. And then for the big guy over here, he just constantly inspires me to push, to keep going, and that no matter what wall you hit, you push, because the reward on the other side is so worth it. And it truly is. It truly is. So
I think a lot of like the don't fold thing, especially like it stems from, I think, as much adversity as we've faced. And even like the idea of like this whole marriage thing being, people think this is an easy road, or, you get on the internet and people have this like facade of what you think marriage is supposed to look like. And it's very nasty. It's very like, some days you don't like me, some days I don't like you, but it's the decision to choose each other, which is like a force multiplier that bleeds into any other area, because you battled this fitness thing for a while. And you've had 1,000 reasons. Like, you've tried keto, we've done the Whole30, we've done paleo, we've done the whole shebang. But it's like, it came to a point where you were just like, I'm dialed in. Like, I'm not going to let this weight kind of define who I am, and bleeding off of the other trials that we've already had in our relationship and just in our life in general, that kind of catapulted you. Like, you're like running now, you're doing stuff that's wild. Like,
yeah, I just started running, and I'm not like training for anything as of yet. It just is.
You say yet like you're about to train for something?
I don't know. I play with like doing like a 5K or
Hell
like a
nah.
triathlon.
No, I did enough running in the Army. No,
Whatever. But yeah, I think on social media, people put their marriage on there as like it's perfect. I mean, you see the true like influencers, they have like the perfect date nights, and they look, dolled up and great. And when you really think about it, at least for us, I could speak of, I mean, to find a date where we can have a date night is like, where do we put it? And then to like, it sounds crazy, but to put the energy to like make outfits and then be present at dinner when we really just want to be asleep. It's just crazy how social media is like the greatest tool ever, but it also can be just this crazy double-edged sword. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that marriage is truly not a 50-50. That's probably the biggest lie I've ever heard. And that if you could take away anything from the marriage point of view in this interview, is that...
I don't know why she called it an interview. I'm not interviewing her at all.
Oh, we're just talking.
We're just chatting.
Is that it's not 50-50. There's days, a lot of days, where I wake up and I have maybe like 10%. And Jay, he knows, he gives his like 90-95. And there's days where he's like at a 10%.
Negative 5,000%.
And I mean, sometimes we don't even meet each other. Sometimes there's percentages left behind. But just to say that marriage is not perfect, and you're gonna have to fight, and you're gonna have to. It's a fight, a daily fight. Sometimes a physical one.
I like the percentages left behind. She beats me. as I want on record, she beats me. No, I'm just playing. No, that's good, because there is percentages that are left behind a lot of the times. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. Like, we have house cleaners. We got a laundry service that come pick up the laundry, do the laundry, because we outside, bro. We be busy. We be trying to move around. We got goals and things that we trying to accomplish. And you add that into trying to keep up with my children and their extracurricular activities. My oldest is about to graduate. He about to take himself to the military or whatever, the Lord calls him to go. Like, it's not this whole like, come stay with me as I clean the house and make this extravagant meal every night. Like, that's not how our life works, bro. Like, and I think that's the problem is people perceive that it looks like that. Like, people perceive that it's this whole like, the man goes out and slays the bear and the wife stays. Like, no, bro. She worked just as hard as I work. Some days she probably work harder than me, because if I be in my head about something and I don't feel like moving, so she busts a move. Like, it's a collective thing. You know what I mean? But I feel like we didn't really dive in too deep on like who you are though. Like, yeah, like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, what brought you to be who you are today? Like, how, like, what are the trials and the stuff?
Trials and tribulations.
Just like, yeah, what'd you have to overcome? Like, what was it like having a kid at 18? Like, what was all that?
Okay. So I'm from Colorado Springs. Single mom household, 3 daughters. So that was wild.
Shout out to Brianna and Kaylee and Tony Martin, my dogs.
Absolutely. My mom was a hustler. She was very independent. I think.
And she's a psycho.
That's
Okay, I'm gonna
where
shut up.
I
I'm gonna shut
get
up. I
it
got you. I'm
for
sorry,
sure.
Tony.
She worked. We went to daycare. I mean, she made sure that we had everything that we wanted for sure. We went through a pretty significant time in our life where I'm not going to speak on it because I don't have permission from everybody to allow that situation to come to life. But it was just something that kind of rocked our family a little bit, that put my sisters and I in a position to where we had to kind of look out for each other as well as my mom. And then I got pregnant at 17. I was a senior in high school. Whole senior year, I was, studying and going to doctor's appointments and ultrasounds and learning how to be a mom, which was wild because I was also taking care of my sisters with my aunt. Shout out to Auntie Shell as well.
Super shout out to Auntie Shell and Uncle Rick.
Yes.
Super shout out to them.
So that was a growth in itself. I think, especially when we say that we both really didn't have a time to learn like that 18 to 21 and play around and learn and fall. I didn't really get that. I had to be a mom. I just made the goal to myself that I was going to walk across that stage. Elijah was due June 4th. We were graduating May 22nd. So my mom, as you know, that's a close one, but I waddled across that stage, graduated with a 3.5. Hello.
What does that even mean?
And then let's see. Yeah. Graduated as a mom and was trying to take care of my sisters. Got married to his father. And that was just, we were young, we're not in love, and it did not work. So I was single mom, or married, then a single mom and divorced, and then trying to figure it out. So all of that, you just learn a lot about yourself. Like what are you going to do? What are you going to figure out? How are you going to take care of this little one? Man, I don't know. What else throughout that? So then, as a single mom, I went to college, became a dental assistant, just learned a lot about myself through all of the journeys and through all of just figuring it out. But I had a really good mentorship, and when my mom was available per se, she was helping me, and when she wasn't there, my aunt was there 1,000%. So luckily I had the backbone to go back to. And then I met this handsome guy who
Thuggin'.
Crazy
Thuggin'.
story. Don't judge. I don't want to see any judgment in the comments. He was a young one, and he was definitely still in high school, and I was definitely graduated. What was it, 18, 23?
I was 18. You were 20. Is that 19, 20, 21, 22? Yeah.
We don't have to do the math.
I was 18. You was 23. That just speaks to the player, huh? Come on now.
We go over this at least once.
Just player, huh? That's all it was.
So yeah, we met at church. That story is a long one, but yeah, also learned a whole lot through each other, coming from different backgrounds and different friends, and man, he taught me a lot. We learned a lot together, and then here came Zion. So then we had to figure out, are we going to rock this out together, or are we going to do this by ourselves? And we did it
Because you was
together.
almost a single mom.
Oh my
bro.
God.
You was almost, because
You're about to be a single dad if you don't calm down.
She beats me. I'm telling you, she beats me, bro.
I do not. And yeah, then he joined the Army, this guy, and that was a whole nother journey. So I guess all in all, just learning how to, in these every chapter of life, learning how to kind of reroute your journey and figure it out. Because from my fitness journey, when I had Elijah, is very different to where we are at now, is because we have also another daughter. We have another daughter. We only have one, thank God.
Only one.
Trinity. She was probably the roughest pregnancy and the one where I experienced the most postpartum depression of literally thinking maybe I should just end it because I was just so unhappy, but I still loved being a mom. It was a wild journey, but we made it through, talked it through, learned how to support each other, I think, in the end of it, and it's just a very different chapter of life, which I think is what spoke to.
Yeah, I think like the whole situation in the buildup was just we were all kids. Like even though you were 23, you were still a baby too. Like, and it was trying to navigate that in a whole like I said, my background is, you know, we were for those of you who know, you know, the south side of Colorado Springs, there's a lot of gangs, there's a lot of, you know, I had dead homies at 16 years old, you know, like people that were started dying. So we came from, when she says like two totally different backgrounds, it's like I'm trying to figure out what a man is in general, because the whole time I'm thinking a man is how many women you slept with, how many people you done beat up, how much heart you got to bang your hood in front of people that ain't from your hood. Like, so it's like navigating that into like, well, now you got to be a man, and what does that look like? What does it look like to be a man? And one, coming from that background, you're super emotional. Like, I know, you know, there's a facade that goes around that gang members are these like macho men, and but it's not. Like, if I can make you want to fight me by calling you a bitch, and you ready to just risk it all for that, like, you got some soul searching to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a, so, you know, I'm battling my own, I mean, I don't even know, trying to figure out even how to be a husband, how to be a father. Like, I was terrified. So I think all that combined with her trying to grow up, me trying to grow up, and then choosing each other, the biggest foundation of that was Jesus, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, Jesus was a huge, and still is today, like, it is the reason that we are able to move and progress and forgive and show each other grace and all this other stuff, because if we were choosing each other, we'd have divorced forever ago. If we got selfish about it, if it was just based off of our own happiness, I guess. Would
1,000%.
How do you feel about that? Like, do you think in a marriage that your happiness is a priority? Like what is that like? And I don't want to say, like, obviously, I'm not saying that if you're just happy, like if you're in a domestic violence situation where your spouse is like putting their hands on you, I'm not saying I don't think you should stay in an unhealthy situation like that. But I'm saying, like, if I gained, because I was fat too. I gained some weight. Like, I wasn't Mr. Pretty Boy, whatever. I don't think I ever really was a pretty boy, but like, shut up. But I'm saying, like, I wasn't Mr. Attractive, whatever, from a time period too, when I got out of the Army. So it's like, had you been like, I'm not attracted to you anymore, like, is that okay? Is like the happiness, what does that look like? Like,
so yeah, I think happiness is a priority in your marriage.
Your nose is running. Do you want a tissue?
Can you please? I'm trying. You guys, it's a struggle. I've been in the bed all day, but I said we were doing this podcast for sure. That's love, you guys. That's like, babe, you need a tissue. I think at the end of the day, though, happiness and grace kind of go together. So when I was big, he gave me the grace to figure it out and supported me in whatever I wanted to do. I mean, I've done Beachbody, I've done Herbalife. He's supported me 1,000%. Whatever I needed to buy, whatever I needed to do, he was like, yeah, do it. If it makes you happy, then do it. But there is a point where as a mom and as a wife, that if you don't know who you are as a person, or you don't have something I don't want to say outside of your marriage, but if you don't have something else, you lose your identity. And I think in that, then you can almost develop an envy or like a jealousness to your husband, because I guess you could take, at one point I was a stay-at-home mom. So I just saw myself in my kids. Like, I just knew how to cook, clean, make sure they were fed, diaper cleaned, all that. And I was almost jealous of him because he got to go to work. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So happiness, yes, but there's like a very fine line balance. Does that make sense?
What is the line balance though? Like, what is, because we've been seeing a lot of people that we didn't think would get divorced. Yeah. So does the issue become like, so in our situation now, like, I'm a real estate investor, developer, realtor, all things real estate.
Yeah.
So I chase this carrot of trying to figure out these houses, and she's crazy. I don't know if you guys heard that. That's my daughter. She is literally insane.
You know her, you know
Yeah,
her.
but yeah. So I'm chasing this, trying to get all these things and all these big grandiose things that looks appealing on the internet. So when that wins, even though everybody wins in that situation, it's included in these four walls. Like, what doesn't breed? Like, how do you? What am I trying to ask you? Like, how does that equate to you? Like you said, you're at home doing all this other stuff. I'm working. You develop a jealousy, but now the money on this side is way more extravagant than anything I made in a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So like, why do you not be jealous of that? Like, how are you not? What holds it in now? Because like we said, we're seeing all these people that are, getting divorces now. Like, how do you keep the team mentality?
Okay, write this down, everybody. Number 2, communication.
Dun,
I think our
dun, dun.
communication is so much better, like light years better than what it was before. And I think us understanding that we have different goals, but those goals are similar, like they meet in the middle, is what keeps us happy. Like knowing that what we're doing is for the greater good of breaking these generational curses that we have, and communicating like daily, if not hourly. I even say, what do we say? We over communicate.
Facts.
So we say things like multiple times.
3 times, 4 times.
But we still, let me tell you, we still fail multiple times.
It's mostly her fault. I'm just playing.
Whatever. I think that communication is a simple answer.
And that keeps the jealousy away, or that keeps the. So what do you think? Why are people getting divorces right now? What do you think? Do you think it's communication?
I think it's communication. I think people, I feel like from the ones that I've seen, obviously we both have pretty big presences on social media.
Mine's not the same on Instagram. You have Morganites on Instagram. And I called y'all Morganites, bro. Like, you can post a picture and have like 300 likes in 20 seconds. I post a picture, it takes me 3 days to get 20 likes.
And girls stay out of his inbox.
Oh my God.
Um,
But what's the reason? Why are they divorcing?
I think because of not communicating. They're trying to keep this social media presence as consistent as possible. And the phone has taken over the face of their husband. They're on it constantly comparing, constantly trying to do what so-and-so is doing. And they're not trying to figure out what's in here, what's in your mind, what's in your heart. What do you want? I think that you just sometimes taking a step away from social media, whether it's a day, an hour a day, and it's hard because everything is based around social media right now, but just taking a step away to just look up it's kind of mind-blowing. Because if you truly do take, like if you just go to the grocery store and don't have your phone in your hand, put it in the cart and just walk around and see how many people are on their phones or recording something or on FaceTime. We are so not present with each other. We're just in our phones all the time. So
Not being present is a big one, though.
yeah.
Not being present is huge. So it's a lack of intentionality between both parties. And that's what. So you're saying that even because I see a ton that people are chasing this like 6 figure, 6 feet, 6-pack. Like you got to have money, you got to have a body, you got to. But then it's like you run to those certain dudes. And I'm not saying every guy's like that, but the guys that are a high value like that have money, that have good bodies, 9 times out of 10, they're probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to generalize this, but I would assume that they're not necessarily the best communicators because they're valuing themselves on the highest, and I don't want to say they're not good communicators. That's bad. But I would just assume like if you're of a man of that type of status, trying to like, I feel like his options are limited, just like a woman that has a status like this, options will be limited. So like when you hear females say that they want this type of dude, and if they get with him, let's say the guy likes him because he finds you attractive, and then he's like, okay, well, I'm with you, I'm buying you everything, but he prioritizes his career over you because you're being bought everything. Would that keep you sustainable? Because I see money's a big thing too. People split over money all the time.
Yeah. I think, also you bringing that up, it just depends on the couple. the person, the chapters of life. It's I think it's different for everybody, but I think the two biggest things are we just kind of said it together: communication and being intentional.
Yeah.
It'll keep you the strongest when you're at your weakest points.
So I want to also ask you, even though I know these, this is kind of like taking a test and knowing the answers, but I'm gonna ask it for y'all guys' sake. How does it feel having a son who is extremely gifted in a sport and traveling and dealing with parents and dealing with coaches? Shout out to Team Takeoff and Damien. We got a really solid family over there with them, but
And Josie.
oh, Josie, my dog. But as we embarked in this journey, which has been fairly new, we're still fairly new to this. It's 2 years deep, and Zion's grown super fast. Like, he's gotten really good. And I'm one of those dads that I keep it real with my son. Like, if he sucked, I would be I'll be honest. I did not think my son was gonna be an athlete. We played football, he was terrible. We played basketball, he was terrible.
Yeah.
You put him in T-ball for some weird reason, and he was
Every
terrible.
kid
Like,
does.
every sport we put this boy in, he was bad. And then one day he said he wanted to hoop, and I was like, "Do you want to play?"
He was in jujitsu, and he's like, "No, I want to do."
Oh yeah, he was in jiu-jitsu. It wasn't jiu-jitsu. No, it wasn't. It was
What was
karate.
it?
It was like
Okay,
it wasn't
karate.
even real. Yeah, I'm not gonna disrespect the jiu-jitsu guys like that. But anyway, one day he said he wanted to hoop, and I was like, "Do you want to play or do you want to be elite?" He was, "I want to be elite," and I was like, "Well, it's no longer fun. Like, it's no longer fun anymore. We gotta really dial in on this." And he was down in 2 years. The boy has been. I argue he's top 10 guards in Arizona in his grade at his age, because some of y'all be holding y'all kids back. But
Top
like, for sure, top 5, because we've seen them all. But granted, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But for you, how does it feel dealing with like the parents and now, because now we've been embarked into a world where we have to let people critique our child all the time.
Yeah.
And as much as we want to go to war and go to bat for him, we have to kind of be realistic for where he wants to go. What is that like from a mom's perspective, trying to navigate all that? Because a lot of these parents have smart mouths.
It's hard. It's crazy to see your baby become a man almost on the court, and then he comes off and he's like a child still. I think I've learned the balance is that I do not critique his game. That's definitely a dad area. So after games, he already knows that he goes to talk to dad. He gets it, whatever, if it's like a good critique or just.
Or a cuss out, because I believe in cussing your kids out. So, let's talk about it. Anyway.
Not talk about it. They're so stressful. I just am the nurturer. I just try to be there to, I won't tell him if he had a bad game, I'm not going to tell him he had a good game. I'm going to say, what do you have to change? And let's change it, because you know what you need to do. The hardest part is I think I have to be very careful with other people's intentions, because there's some people that if there wasn't basketball involved, I don't know if I would be their friend. And that's just the honest truth. I think that's something that I've learned in my 30s is like, I don't have time to waste on relationships that are not pure or intentional. And I think there are very few people that want to be your friend. Sometimes they want to do it to try to get like a one leg up, which is mind-blowing to me. But I think in this club AAU world, the best thing you can do is just stay grounded. Just try to keep a 11, 12-year-old's mindset as strong and as stable as you can. And also social media is a double-edged sword with that too, because these kids now have Instagrams where they have all their highlights and that's all you see. So you think that they're just these crazy good, and they get on the court and they're just like you. And if
regular.
Yeah, they're just all you see, so just protecting his mind, his heart, and, trying to still keep him young, but keep him in that top 5 spot.
But how are you navigating what people say about him? Like when you want to go into mama bear mode and you want to, like, what
like at a game or like
just in general, because at games people say what they want to say, but they're protected by refs and security and let me shut up. But like, but like just in general, like when you just hear like, oh, such and such said Zion is this, or and honestly, I heard, and you know the pillow talking that goes on in the world. Like, how do you keep your head forward? This is just thinking about him, or like trying to keep his future in the front, so it's easier to kind of ignore stuff, or like
Yeah.
like
I just there's not anything really I feel like to be said. People are gonna have an opinion regardless. I know what goes on at our home. I know what you're doing with him, and I know how he feels because he's you. If it is ever anything that needs to be addressed, I'm gonna address it. Like if you're gonna talk down to my son or bad about my son, then we're gonna talk about it. I don't think I've come to that point yet, or I don't even know if anybody's brave enough to say something negative to me.
I got a 40 just in case, and I got a 45 to be hunting with you. Ain't scared, bro. Know that I'm from the South Side.
But I don't. I mean, like I said, I know what goes on at this house. I know what he does. He shows it on the court, and he shows it off the court. He's a great kid on and off the court. There's not much to be said. I mean, he says it enough, and when you're watching his backside when he's laying it up. So.
I feel like all the stuff that we went through on this AAU journey has been interesting too, because I feel like we're gonna have to repeat it with Trinity as she grows in volleyball.
Yeah, and that's girls, so I feel like that's a whole nother animal.
I don't know I just look. So I just want everybody to know that I'm a volleyball expert. As of like probably a week ago, I figured out what a volley was. So obviously, I'll be doing the coaching for Trinity.
Clearly.
But no, I don't know. I think girls is a whole different thing, because even with, I don't even know how to navigate that world, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, because you want to just focus on, I don't know, and I praise God that you're here for that, because boy, I don't know how that's about to go.
I think we're in that together. I mean, I'm a girl, but she's a whole nother. She's like you and Zion put together as a female, and it's scary.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, to be honest, I think that everything that we went through in AAU, and it hasn't been a bad ride. Like, it's obviously anything you do, and having a talented child like we do in Zion, like, you're gonna face it all. Like, people are gonna that's like I tell him all the time. Like, either it's two types of people: people that commentate and people who are being commentated about. Like, it's just, it is what it is. So the higher he climbs up the ladder, the more. But I think the more callous that will become to it, and we can just dial in as parents. But I think that is it's an easy transition to Trinity if she happens to show significant strides like her brother in that regard, or whatever it is. If it's not basketball or volleyball, whether it's dance or whatever she decides to put her head to, and she is screaming still. This whole podcast, she's outside for sure.
Literally been trying to figure out why she's
That's all right. It's all right.
Friends.
It's okay. But I think it'd be an easier transition because we almost can keep it business. Like, now, granted, people are going to be cool, and if we find people that we rub shoulders with and we enjoy, we can, whatever. But I think that's a whole thing in itself. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it comes as it comes.
It's a crazy ride.
For sure. So where are you at now, Miss Down 70 pounds? Like, where's your head at now as of today? As of this podcast, which is on a Sunday night?
Trying to get over this cold that I've now caught for a second time because of the guy on the other side.
That joint had me down for a whole week. But whatever. Keep going.
Whatever. Where am I at now? That is the question of all questions.
You're popular, one. Everybody at Lifetime loves you.
Shout out to Lifetime Fitness.
Everybody on Instagram loves you. Like, you're cracking.
Yeah, I don't know. Social media, I love to just share and talk, and I don't know. I don't ever want to sell anything, to be honest. So I don't want to be in that realm of selling products or making fitness plans. I love to just inspire and hype the girls up, because the fitness journey, you're on both ends of the spectrum. You're either you're anywhere in between. You could be, 250, you could be, 150. You just need a supportive person, someone that you can connect with on both ends. And I just love to be like the one that I kind of know what it's like to be on both ends. I'm still learning what it's like to be on both ends, because I truly, not to put a number on it, I think I'm sitting at like 173, 175. I don't think I've ever been this small. since high school. I don't know. Would you say I was this small when I met you, or was I bigger?
You were bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah, you were bigger.
So, I mean, it's wild to like get dressed and do things and like not cry or go shopping and just like know my pant size. It's so interesting, but it is such a blessing. I think, and even in our marriage, like just having more confidence of like, I'm his and yes, I'm his wife, you know, just standing in that.
And sex is cracking.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Kids. Fast
Sorry, guys.
About 2 minutes. Cause that's also, it's facts. It's true. I'm not going to deny it. Sex is a thing, and I don't think it's talked about enough because it shouldn't be talked about everywhere. But in losing 70 pounds, our sex is pretty popping. It's a different world when you have confidence and you don't have to worry about your belly being in the way or breathing
We
heavy.
can't even monetize this now because you're going down a rabbit hole.
Why? Okay, I'm going back up the rabbit hole. I won't go down it. But anyway, that is one of the great things. So where I'm at right now is becoming a realtor. That has been a big, I don't want to say roadblock per se, but he has been so good about hyping me up and saying I'll be good at it. But it's like something that is a completely different language to me, and just getting the confidence and courage to like just take these tests and move on to that has been wild. It's something that I don't think I've ever experienced. I don't want to say that it's a block right now. I feel like I'm up it. I just have to get on top of that mountain and crush it. So that's what we're currently going through. I think otherwise, just trying to balance out schedules of all these kids and getting our 18-year-old off and going without killing him first.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Man.
He's been in the gym.
He's been going to the gym
I'm
tough.
so proud.
Yeah, he's been going to the gym heavy. Shout out to him. Shout out to Elijah, man.
Sends us his little PRs and stuff, so that's been really cool.
Elijah's always like, I saw you on my For You page. I'm like, because I'm famous, dog. Come on, bro.
Just a world to try not to raise assholes, you know?
No, for sure. Well, babe, I appreciate you being my first guest on
You're welcome.
Said Don't Fold podcast.
I hope it was okay.
No, yeah, it was cool. So this is really like, this is going to be interesting. There's going to be so many different variations of people on here. It's going to be, you know, obviously my wife is more personal, so this is going to be a more personal podcast, but man, I got some really cool friends that have done some really cool stuff, and people that all embody this don't fold mentality of understanding just you got to persevere and push through. And I figured you guys would get a kick out of just seeing that it's actually done for real. Like, I'm not the only one that walks in. My wife walks in. My son walks in. My daughter's starting to understand what it means. My oldest is starting to fully understand what it means. So we embody this as a community. It's not just me screaming it on the internet. So it's super cool that you can come on here and tell your story. And I'm going to use you as bait because you're popping. So this interview will get, you got me saying interview, this podcast will get some hits because Morgan's face is on it. But no, that's it, man. So look, I appreciate y'all. If you're watching this, like, share, subscribe. Go to the YouTube. Follow me on TikTok, Tatted Investor. Follow me on Instagram, Tatted Investor. Follow my bride on Instagram, Morgan with 2 N's, Inspires.
I need to start doing TikTok.
I don't know why you don't.
Like. I know. You told me this years ago.
I don't know why you don't. It is cracking. But I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Be safe. We gone.